I'm going to turn over to our moderator, Mr. Mike Hundert. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you, Terrence?
Good, good, Mike. Mike, I know you've owned REM for many years, and you're have retired from REM, and now you're still very much connected in the industry. So we really appreciate having someone like you here as our moderator.
Well, thanks. I appreciate the opportunity. I'll see what I can do to help bring more focus to the real big challenges that we're all facing right now in this industry.
Nice. Well, this is definitely your wheelhouse. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to turn the conversation over to you, as well as you to let us know about how the updates of design and manufacturing have been in the COVID environment. So you have our attention.
Thanks very much. First of all, I've been on a lot of Zoom calls, like I'm sure all of you, and I've been so taken by the number of books that I see in all these calls. I didn't know that the books sold that many anymore. So I was thinking about, well, how do I compete with that? So I went into my photo library and I picked this background here from Trinity College. I'm sure that everybody knew that already. But I'll come back to Los Angeles now, which is where I am. I hope all of you are doing well. We've got a tremendous panel today, a diverse group that are involved in the design and manufacturing of eyewear. And like Terrence said, I helped grow our family business for nearly 40 years in this industry, and sold our company in 2016 to Dorigo. So Dorigo REM still operating right out of here in Los Angeles. And while I was building that business, of course, you know that you have to get involved in every component of a business as you grow it. But the area that I loved the most was product design and development. And I did it the first 20 years all by myself. And then I stayed deeply engaged because I believed that the supply chain management was critical to our business. I always stayed engaged in it, much to the chagrin of later creative directors like Blake O'Hara and Nicholas Rosilier. But we had that creative tension that I think resulted in more successes as a result of that. But I also believe that there's nothing more important to the business than the product. You can have your customer service working well, your order fulfillment working well, and all those other components of the business. But if your product isn't superior, it's pretty hard to go anywhere. So that's why I'm particularly thrilled to moderate a panel of such distinguished people in that area of our business. So let's get started with understanding who we're going to learn from today. First of all, it is such a privilege. Patti Ferrara, the co-founder and designer of Barton Perreira. There are few eyewear designers that have made a lasting impact in this industry as has Patti Ferrara. Her eye, her hand in designing eyewear is legend, as is Patti. Following nearly 20 years with Oliver Peoples, Patti launched her own label in 2007 along with Bill Barton, her partner. Today, Barton Perreira is one of the most highly respected eyewear brands in the world. A distinguished member of the Council of Fashion Designers of America, it's a privilege to have Patti Ferrara join us today.
Thank you.
Also, oh, sure. We're going to get to the questions here in a minute. Giulia Valmassoi, pleasure to have you as well. The CEO of Thema, a family-owned and operated business headquartered in both the Cadore Valley, the once heart of Italy's optical manufacturing, and also in Miami, Florida, from where Giulia's company distributes the family's production and more throughout the Americas. Thema's Florida operation creates and manufactures American-made bespoke eyewear with the help of its proprietary virtual eyewear assistant. Giulia has earned a reputation in this business already as a savvy businesswoman whose passion and her creativity demonstrates that the future of our industry is in highly capable hands. A delight to have you with us. And Marc Lefebvre, the CEO of Killine Group, a leading designer, manufacturer, and distributor of branded and OEM eyewear to global retail chains and distributors. With factories that they own in Vietnam, China, Italy, and London, the Inspex Group, of which that is part, is involved in the supply chain from all the way from manufacturing to the distribution and retailing. Marc's division, which makes frames and sunglasses at their two Asian factories. One's in China, subjected to tariffs, and a Cold War. The other located a peaceful 1,000 kilometers south in the allied country of Vietnam. While there are thousands of factories in China involved in making eyewear, Killine is the pioneer optical factory in Vietnam. And the last time I saw you, Mark, we were sequestered together during a stage 4 typhoon at the Marco Polo Hotel in Canton Road, as I recall.
Yep, that's true.
So here we are again, sequestered. Coffee instead of Tsingtao is all. And I believe you're in Portugal today, the home of Killine.
I am. Yeah.
So, which makes this whole story that much more complex. But we only have an hour, so we won't dive into all of the entanglements of Killine. But as you just heard, Mark does speak with a French accent, which adds even more mystery to this, but we'll leave that to another time. So we'll sum it all up by saying that we have 3 individuals who together make eyewear in 6 countries, collectively accounting for more than 95% of where all eyewear is made and manufactured. And our panelists represent all the industry segments from high-end to low-end, from retail to manufacturing, from mass to one-off. So if that's not cream for your coffee, I don't know what is. So with that, Patti, Giulia, Mark, let's get this started. And I'm going to start by talking about how the business is crawling back open, but it's been shut down in every corner of the planet. And that pause button is plugged in. It's sending electrical shocks through the whole eyewear network, the whole supply chain, from those who take care of our eye health to those who create our eyewear devices. So to the CEOs who still listen to my advice, I've been suggesting that this might be a moment to focus on one's reputation, because people remember what you did for them and the community during these kinds of moments. And in the eyewear business, we all know that customers do business with people who they like and respect. So in addition, retailers, of course, today also need our help and guidance. So let's start there. Patti, I would rather just sit here and listen to the stories of your unbelievable journey in the optical industry, but that too will have to wait for another discussion. So I've been chored with focusing on today and tomorrow and what's going on. So Patti, tell us, what's the temperature at Barton Perreira? What are you focused on today?
Well, we just reopened this week. We furloughed everyone, sadly, and we just started bringing people back this week. And so far it's been good. We get patient orders every day, and we've gotten some of our customers that are asking for back orders. So it's slowly starting to happen. But like you said, at this point we're here, we need to support our customers who've supported us over the years. And on the design side, I really haven't stopped working. I work year round on design. And for me, it's kind of been what's kept me sane through this whole process, is to stick with my norm and kind of escape into my kind of creative journey, if you will, of that's how it's going to get me through this personally,
So you're saying designers need a little mental health too?
Yeah, definitely have some dark days, and I try not to go there. And being able to design and create is what kind of helps me get through it.
So with this situation, and given the shutdowns, including no ways, nor perhaps even a need to show new product, how is this impacting your product release calendar, not to mention your own creativity and inspiration sitting home?
Yeah, well, we've decided to push our collection back one season. So the collection we were going to show at Vision Expo in the spring, we're going to release in the fall. Some of our customers have seen it, and they are getting orders now of that product, and some, like Black Optical, are already selling. But the collection that we were going to show in the fall will now be showed in the spring. So we basically pushed everything back one season. Luckily, it's fairly classic, and so I like timeless design, so it's going to be as relevant, I think, in the fall as it would be in the spring, and vice versa.
Barton Perreira is entirely made in Japan.
Yes.
They too have been hit, as everywhere else. what's now the situation socially and manufacturing wise in Fukui? And will those factories that were already kind of struggling, a lot of them, will they be able to survive?
I think so. I mean, I don't know exactly. I know that there's a couple of the smaller family-owned factories that will struggle only because they're not getting paid. But I'm hoping that the government is going to step in and help them, and as their customers, we're going to do what we can to help them. I know there's one factory that we work with that has lowered their minimum order quantity with us, which is really helpful, just because going forward, you know, we're also going to take a hit. And so, you know, we're just trying to figure it out. Everybody's working together the best we can to, you know, save our businesses. And Japan has been hit hard, but a lot of companies realize the quality of what they do and appreciate it. So a lot of people that left Japan to go manufacture elsewhere have come back to Japan. So I think that's a good sign.
You miss going, being at the factories?
I do very much.
Yeah, how do you substitute for that?
There is none. I mean, Zoom, Skype, nothing is like being there.
Yeah, yeah. Let's turn to another side of the world for a second. I'm going to bring us to Damaja di Cadore, the heart of the Dolomites, one of the most beautiful parts of Italy. It's just straight up from Venice, maybe an hour and a half or so. That's the region where it's the traditional home of eyewear manufacturing. I made countless drives in that loop and down to Segasino and around there. It's just one of the great parts of being in this industry was to spend time doing product development in Cadore and regions that, near there. And that's where Thema Family Factory is situated. Unbelievable people, great food. Then there was this. So Giulia, I know you're in the US now running the Florida operation, serving the Americas, but I have to first ask you, the impact of the Italian shutdown and the COVID-19 virus there, how has it impacted your family and your factory and your friends?
Well, it's undeniable. It was hard. We start seeing now the first positive signs of finally starting this week. So we remain positive, but again, it's been like a very tough time, not just in our industry, I think for our country in general, but we are ready. We are strong together as citizens, businesses, and I think that soon we'll get back on our feet and hopefully stronger than ever.
So is the factory now up and running in Italy?
Yeah, it's up and running. It's still not the full capacity. We're still working with reduced personnel, but we want to make sure that we maintain the essential operations for our customers. And again, we are now starting to see a bit more of actions. So hopefully every day we're going to be able to serve more customers and reopen at full capacity.
You know, eyewear is a complex product with many different components to it, and it depends on others as well to provide you those components. How is that right now? How is the supply of the raw materials, the acetates, the spring hinges, et cetera? How is that in Italy?
So luckily, because we were ready to present the new collections, one of the peak of our season now in March, which didn't happen because MIDO was canceled, Vision Expo was canceled. So we were prepared to supply that demand that we were expecting. But because everything was canceled, everything was kind of put on hold in a pause. So now we are positive that as the economy will start reopening, we'll be able to serve them with the stock that we had previously purchased. And moving forward, I think there won't be a problem now to restock, you know, the raw materials that we need.
Here in America, you're a young company, I think only about 5 years old, maybe?
A bit more of 6, yes.
Okay. So how, in this environment, do you communicate and expose your company and its assets, what it offers to the customers today in this environment? You're a millennial. How do millennials want to get fed this information? Through what means?
So,
in what ways?
I have to be honest with you, like since I started, I was the first rep for Thema in the US when we didn't even have a US branch here. We're still distributing everything from Italy. I was the #1 rep of Thema based in New York City. So I've been growing a relationship with my customer on one-on-one. And I think the comment that I get the most is that they feel my passion. They like our story. And you know, when great people or people that like each other connect, that's very easy to spread, especially in our industry. So it's true that I've been working here in the US for just 6 years, which is really nothing compared to some of the professionals that we have here today. But I guess it was very easy to spread and contagious, the passion that I had. And this customer has helped me getting through spreading the word and knowing even more professional that has been supporting us. They like what they see, they like what we were doing, and this is how I am promoting the business.
Well, I've seen that a lot of the influencers have gotten themselves in a bit of a jam recently because they have kept marketing without showing sensitivity. I'm just wondering, following up on that, what is it about the marketing? How do you market it today with still showing empathy and sensitivity and still trying to move your name and your image and your reputation forward?
I do agree that we're living in a world where there are a lot of influencers, maybe more influencers than we really know, that we really need. I think that the new trend today is be unique. You know, like we don't want to show up at an event wearing the same frame that somebody else is wearing. We want to be different. And this is what we're offering. We dare you to wear something that belongs to you and you only. And if that was the question, like this is what we are focusing on. Like don't follow everyone else, but be unique, be yourself. And this is our motto.
So tell us about your unique proposition.
So our unique proposition is we have always wanted to offer something that didn't exist before. So we wanted to differ from any other company that's out there by offering a service and a product that you couldn't find anywhere else. So the last few years, even before this situation, we have been developing new ways to dispense medical devices from the professional through digital platforms, which today we know new consumers really want to use. They don't shop the traditional way that they used 10 years ago or 20 years ago. But at the same time, we know that we are dispensing medical devices, which needs the care and the assistance of an eye care professional. So if these new millennials, like myself, they like to shop using digital platforms or using their phones, they should be able to do that. And that's where we have been focusing on developing these new technologies that can help them shopping the way they like, the new way that they like to shop, but always having the assistance of a professional at the end.
And how does this current situation impact your ability to be successful with that strategy?
Well, actually, it forced us to release some of these technologies even before what we had originally planned. And we started a couple of weeks ago releasing a new app that's also available in the Apple Store for free, because we really want to help our customers connecting with their patients while they're at home and without asking them to sacrifice that high quality service that they will get if they were to meet in person.
Very good. Marc.
Yes.
Last week in January, we were together at the Vision Council Executive Summit in Florida, talking about supply chain leadership. And at that time, talking less than 4 months ago, there were two main issues. The big subject was tariffs, and how could suppliers get off the heroin of China's low, albeit fast rising costs, and shift investment out of China to other countries with which the United States has better relations. The other big issue back then, way back in January, the end of January, was the coronavirus in China that had the audacity to threaten to interrupt our supply chain. How would the eyewear industry survive if the factories were closed? In January, Marc, you expressed your concern that your big challenge was finding enough masks for your 1,500 workers. Today, the whole thing's flip-flop. Some of my friends who make frames tell me that their factories are open, but the distribution network is so choked up with inventory that nobody is anxious to fill the production capacity of their factories. So as demand slowly churns up and inventory shelves are full, the tariffs remain, the Cold War is freezing over, PPE is still a challenge, a vaccine is probably a year or more away, a resurgence is probable. What the hell's going on, Marc? Help us to understand this evolving trajectory.
I don't know. I mean, basically for us, it's been a journey. I mean, since the beginning of this whole story, actually, and situation. We've been living it the hard way in China to start with indeed the fact of needing some new supply of masks, of different gels and stuff like that to make sure that our factories could start all over again. And that was not easy already at that time to find all of those supplies, but we eventually managed and tried to cope with the very high demand at the time of everybody basically firefighting and trying to find anything at all to be able to sell new frames when they were expecting that all the factories would not be able to supply anything anymore. Well, a few weeks after that, Europe was getting hit by the COVID-19, and then the USA. And as you say, indeed, I mean the demand started to slow down. So after the tariffs issue, which we started in September, and then the COVID that started for us just after Chinese New Year, and now the demand issue, which is basically slowing down. Again, has asked us to slow down our production, our facilities, and the production capacity we have. Well, yes, it's been a long journey through the various different issues, and right now, well, we are really eager to start all over again, and we hope that all the different markets all over the world are not basically making this situation self-fulfilling, and start taking their responsibilities and risk, and have some vision to really push for the new economy starting. I mean, hopefully, or restarting towards the end of the year. And well, as you know, it takes some time to make a frame, so it's not the time to stop everything. It's time to rethink your business, rethink your supply. Make sure that you will get some new product when you need them most, and not firefight in August or September or November when you need product for December.
When you're rethinking your business, what are you thinking about? What are you changing? What's going to change?
Well, to start with, I mean, apparently, what we see from on the other side is the way to, in the same way we have issues, probably. I mean, we have issues right now to meet with our partners, key accounts, and everything. I mean, obviously, the big distributors as well as the retailers have issues to meet with their own customers. So distributors to meet with the retailers, and retailers to engage in a new way with the customer, with the consumers, basically. Luckily, we see some good signs everywhere. It has restarted and reopened. We see in Asia that the business is back on track. I mean, as far as our business is concerned, sales in Asia are back to 100%. In Europe,
back to whoa.
In terms
back
of
to 100%.
In terms of number of sales in the stores, it's everybody says over there that basically the sales are the same now, back in the same. When you see some of the numbers showing right now already in Europe, I mean, you can see, I don't know the source of those numbers, but you can see countries like Austria back in 84% already, Germany back at 77%, France, I mean, had again some reports today, very encouraging. I mean, even though they're seeing some kind of slowdown after a real peak, because the new norm is by appointment, you know. I mean, so it's. But last week, I mean, was already pretty strong in terms of visits and people meeting with their customers. So obviously, we're talking here independent optician chains with higher rotation, larger numbers might have bigger issues to accommodate as many people as before. And it will be a big challenge for them, most probably, to manage those peaks and make sure that they can maybe have, all of those appointments through the week instead of having everything on Saturdays and Sundays, obviously. So it's a new way of dealing with the consumer. In the same way for us in the B2B, it's a new way of dealing with our partners. And we'll have to rearrange all of that. I mean, it's not easy. Who will want to see a rep from a Chinese factory or from a Chinese anywhere in the world, or who will want to see a rep from a big distributor entering into an optical store when you're already busy with dealing with a customer and you cannot accumulate more than 2 or 3 in your office? It's the new norm probably that we impose ourselves again through the rules and regulation. It's going to be an interesting way forward in terms of how we sell our product.
You also sell to a lot of distributors.
Yes.
In addition to the chains.
Yes.
What's the health of the distribution network, the financial health of the distribution network, and are you concerned about the bad debt that you may face coming up?
That we should ask them, and yes, indeed, this is a risk that we need to mitigate, and we have to be careful always with the different partners we are working with. But well, touching wood, we've been lucky, and we have strong partners so far. So I'm not anticipating major issues as far as we are concerned. I think the partners we are with are strong. They will be weakened by this crisis for sure, but they are strong. I would be more concerned on the other side, on the manufacturing side, because I mean, the one who, in my view, have been the more hit with that respect are the manufacturers, even more so than the distributors. I mean,
explain that to us a little bit. Why?
If you take just the example, the beginning of everything, the margin and the margin in our business. I mean, you know this industry for many years, many decades, and you've seen product getting more and more evolved, more and more complicated. Yet the price seems to be going down all the time. I mean, explain to me that there is an issue here somewhere. I mean, it's a problem. Probably at the beginning, the margin were very fat, very healthy, and it's not anymore the case. But to start with, yes, the margin. I have some numbers, cannot share all of them. But the margins are the margins are very low. In general, they are scary low in many cases. People are taking orders and taking business just for the sake of taking business and to have their workers basically survive in the factories. It's in many cases. Now, if you add to that, just taking the example of the USA, the effort, the sharing thing that we all made, I think, as manufacturers with our partners, distributors in the USA to share, for instance, the tariffs. I mean, from all the different reports I get from my competitors, we have all participated to this tariffs. This came hitting further our margins. Okay, that's for sure. So it deteriorated further the situation on the manufacturing level. Then you have the Chinese New Year, which is not a very good period overall. I mean, you basically don't invoice anything. You wait, you pay your employees, but you don't manufacture, you don't invoice them anything. And just after that, you're hit by the COVID-19. Wow. It takes you 1 month, 2 months, 3 months sometimes just to come back to some kind of normalcy in terms of capacity. It's not easy at all. Plus, you start again having to clean up your factory, your premises 2, 3, 4 times a day everywhere. Imagine we're talking factories with, 10,000 square meters, 20,000 square meters, many different floors, offices, everywhere. You have to clean that up all the time just to meet the new standards. You have to equip all of your employees. I mean, the standard in the US, or the standard you will see coming in the US, or we have also in Europe, are the same in Asia, in China, or in Vietnam. And the costs, as a result, are the same as well. Yet, at the same time, as you get ready and you are there with 100% of your workforce, ready, paying them and everything, boom, the demand starts slowing down. You have all of your partners who are telling you, wow, I don't need that. Let's postpone, which is a good case already. I mean, that's our case. Some of them just said, well, just cancel. This one I don't need anymore. That's gonna be the new normal as well. So imagine starting from this situation there where the financial health of those companies is not great, going into all of those different stages, and now waiting with many people, not only furlough, but we see factories open 3 days. We see big guys, you will see the big names making some announcements in the next few weeks, because basically they will close down for 2 weeks or 3 weeks their entire operations. And I'm talking big names, so you will have some real surprise soon, where basically the factories will be closed down, shut down.
So how does this impact the average retailer? Does it matter, or do we just have so much supply anyway that
exactly.
No big deal?
Right now, the reason why we don't see the demand coming back, even though many markets are reopening and doing quite well, is because indeed there is some kind of inertia, and many people receive stocks, and they have to eat their stocks. As soon as they have eaten their stocks, then it will start again. So how are the distributors and the big retailers hit right now? Not very much by this situation. They don't probably realize it in many cases. And some of them are playing very fair. Some others are not playing very fair in terms of the payment, especially what was mentioned just before. My advice is cherish your suppliers. Because if you don't, many may collapse, and in the end, you will just have to, just have no choice but to try sources or new sources to resource your product, to redo your whole process, and it's going to be very painful. So be careful, because it's kind of weak at the very beginning of the process right now. Understand that. It's very important.
So cherish your suppliers. Yes. From a very humble supplier. Okay, let's change now. I'm going to ask Patti to talk to us about how might selling change if today companies, distribution companies, have large sales forces. They're spending a lot of money on their sales force in a time when maybe people are open to new means of reviewing and looking at frames like this, Zoom. How, if we were to go forward a year from now, how might the whole selling process change, and the importance of the rep in the equation?
Well, I think reps are always going to be important because of the relationships that they have with their customers. But definitely, I think, we're starting to do it now where we're having Zooms with our customers. Right now, it's basically just to kind of touch base and see how everybody's doing and that sort of thing, but it's going to evolve into showing product and communicating the new collection and so on. So, it's definitely going to be different. It's not going to be that you just carry your bags into a store and somebody's going to welcome you with open arms. It's definitely going to be different. But I think that we still need reps. They serve an important purpose, and
how do they ensure that they can provide value in the whole equation? What's your advice to them, in other words? Because I'm sure there's some reps listening in on this call. What's your advice to the reps? What's their future look like, and how do they adapt?
I think that they just have to really believe in what they're selling and just cherish those relationships and nurture them and let their customers know that they're really there for them and help in any way that they can. Beyond that, I don't know what else they can do.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that society changes, by the way, in all of this? Again, Zoom being important, does eyewear become, therefore, a more important accessory because of the way we're communicating?
I think so. It's further protection. You have the mask, but then, definitely you want to protect your eyes.
No, I meant from a fashion perspective. If you're only seeing me from here, eyewear is a big part of that equation too. So is eyewear maybe, do we benefit from this new form of communication? Because this is such a focal point today. And instead of buying more jeans, we buy more eyewear?
I hope so. I mean, to me, eyewear's always really been important because it's on your face. So for me, it's the most important accessory. And the fact that it has then, you know, a medical quality about it as well. But yeah, it's funny because I talked to a friend of mine yesterday and he says that he has 4 different masks that he wears and he coordinates them with his eyewear, you know, because certain colors go with things. And I'm like, that's amazing. You have to post that and tag us, because he wears all Barton Perreira. But yeah, I definitely think that this will benefit us.
What can we do now to drive new enthusiasm to the category and more new spending to the category? Are you working on any ideas along that line that drives newness to add some new excitement? What do we got to look forward to?
I mean, we're just continuing to create beautiful eyewear that hopefully people are drawn to. You know, it's hard to know what it's going to look like when we come out of this. So we're going to continue doing what we do, and hopefully that people appreciate beautiful eyewear that's really well made.
Do you use in your decision of direction, obviously you have to be a forecaster, but do you use data at all? Do you use what's going on in the marketplace? And if so, how do the current circumstances help you?
A little bit. I mean, I'm designing a year ahead, so the data, I guess, is somewhat helpful. I mean, I think our design team kind of pulls information for color and that sort of thing. But for me, I try not to go there. I don't want to make it about numbers. I don't want to be stuck looking at reports and letting that dictate my creative process.
Mm-hmm.
So
give us something to be excited about. As a consumer of eyewear, what can I be excited about?
Well, I would be excited just to be able to go back into a store and actually try things on, and, you know, and invest in something beautiful that makes you feel good.
Sure. Giulia, in your company, how do you emerge a winner out of this pandemic?
Well, staying positive, staying passionate about what we do. We try, you know, to think that new shopping behaviors, new challenges also means new opportunities, right? So where are these opportunities? And this is how we think, you know, we are going to emerge, finding these new opportunities and trying to serve our customers to help them go through this moment.
What must be true then? What must happen for you to be successful? What do you want to see unfold here in the coming months?
So I'd like to see final consumers be a little bit more sensitive to things that are not just the brand name and the price, but for example, what's behind the brand? What's the story of this brand? Where it's made? What am I doing, like with this purchase? Am I supporting my local shop? Am I supporting my own country? Is this frame actually manufactured with care for the environment? I would love for final consumer to become even more and more sensitive in the next months to come to these topics.
And what do you think is the role of the suppliers, by the way, in helping to educate the retailers about frame cleanliness and providing the means and the tools with which to do it? Are you providing the retailers with any guidance here as they emerge from this darkness about how to treat their products, the frame boards, et cetera?
Yeah, absolutely. We do. We are in constant contact with them right now. We're doing a lot of Zoom calls. So now they're starting to reopen their businesses. We want to make sure that the staff is trained. Whenever we could go back and do that in person, we will. But our sales force, as Patti was saying before, it's still super important for us because they are the connection between the brand and our customers. They are there for them. So in terms of training, in terms of product placements, you know, we are helping as much as we can virtually right now, and then through our sales force.
Okay, I have a question here from Patrick McCandless. Have you given consideration to offer masks matching frames and cases?
Mask matching, well, we have been giving some masks to some of our customers during the first phase of this situation. So they were not matching the cases and the eyewear yet. We were not ready, but that could be a good idea actually. You know, who knows?
Here's a question, maybe Patti, you could address this a bit. It's really about blue light because it's the fact that we're in front of our computer so much more now, or theoretically, the blue protect and computer will change the game. What, you have some thoughts about how our computer time is going to change our eyewear selections?
Yeah, I think that blue light is definitely more important than ever, you know, paying attention to that sort of thing, because we're all on our phones and our computers more now than ever, now that, you know, we've been home under quarantine. So it's important to make sure that the lenses that you're using do block, you know, blue light.
Sure, sure. And Marc, do you guys make blue light products at Killine?
Yes, we do.
And is that increasing the interest in that product category?
It has been really a big category for us since I would say the past 2 years, 3 years already, as some of the large lens manufacturers really promoted it more and more, and you were seeing it on the RX product. I mean, we have been supplying quite a few options of those, like the very light ones, or the gamer one, or even the night drive kind of options, basically. So we are more on the ready to wear. This is one of the options that our hottest option we also have on our patented technology for ready readers with proximity vision as well as blue light, for instance. So yes, this is an option that is hot. So definitely after this time we spent a little bit confined, and we see the usage of our kids, wives and friends, sometimes of their tablets, their phones and everything. This is likely to become the new, I mean, a norm. I mean, the 15, 20, 50% of lenses sold like that will probably become 100% pretty soon, actually.
Wow, well, that's a big move. Another one of these like invisible threats
Exactly.
that maybe people are now paying attention to.
It's also an easy add-on as far as sales. I mean, definitely. I mean, you want you want an anti-scratch for you when you go on the beach. If you use a computer, if you use a blue light. So it's a way to drive the business up as well.
Patti, you have retail stores. Well, there's a question here about the disinfecting of frames. And as a manufacturer, what is your suggestion on disinfecting frames?
It really depends on the frame. It varies frame by frame. I mean, in some cases you can use alcohol, but you have to be really careful. Our manufacturers are a little bit hesitant to give us specific advice on this matter because they don't want to damage the lenses because of the different coatings that different labs use and such. So we're advising our customers to speak to their manufacturers specifically about their particular frames, because it depends on, you know, the raw material, the plating of the material, and that sort of thing. So we don't have specific guidelines as of yet. We're working with our factories right now to try to kind of narrow it. But I think it's really a case-by-case basis.
Is there concern about chemical reaction on some materials like acetate? You would use something maybe different than you would on a metal frame?
Yes, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. And, you know, some logos are heat stamped, some are silk printed. So certain chemicals in soap or in an alcohol component might, you know, rub that off. So it's, you got to be really careful. It's not, I see people online, you know, doing little training videos on how to clean your glasses, and it's kind of scary just because it really depends on the frame.
What scares you?
Well, I just, you know, when somebody invests that much in a pair of glasses or with their prescription lenses, if it's going to damage the coatings on the lens, or, you know, they're going to ruin the finish of their frame and think it's a bad quality frame when it really doesn't have anything to do with the quality of the frame. It's more of the chemical that they're using to clean the frame.
Let's see, Alicia Hartman suggested we have been using an ultrasonic with a drop or two of antibacterial hand wash.
You also have UV lights, which,
yeah,
which prevents you from using any chemicals or any contact with the frames. We are working on it right now for large chains with some major manufacturers in the medical environment. So UV light is quite good, actually. I mean, especially when you think not just of the consumer who has to clean up his frames, but in a retail environment, if one customer takes 3-4 frames just to choose one in the end, I mean, there are some frames to be cleaned up in the store as well. That's what we see in Europe right now. So
sure.
That's quite a large number of frames to be cleaned, a lot of time, and therefore potentially one new person to work in the store. So you may have this option of having a machine on the side just to put the frames for 3 minutes, and then put them back on the display.
And that kills bacteria.
But we're not sure that it kills COVID.
Oh, yes, that's true too.
That's another point.
And it doesn't remove the other grime that's on the frame. Forever and ever advocated to our reps to make sure they go in and clean the darn nose pads, if nothing else, because it's so disgusting. And those lights to which you refer don't really clean that. So I think we get back to basics of just cleanliness. This is a healthy thing for the industry, I think, to get to. And maybe this situation will help all of us do a better job for the consumers with respect to that. And by the way, we can jump in on any of these questions. Let's see. I was told the UV light can leave bits of skin, etc., on the frame. So that's really was addressing what I was just referring to. It's not really sanitizing them to a point where I would want to try on the frame. That's for sure. So let's go back to manufacturing for a moment now. Marc, tell us, you have manufacturing now in various parts of the world. Where is it robust? Where is it non-existent? Where is the opportunity for you and manufacturers?
In terms of setting up plants or factories to manufacture?
Yeah, what's making you optimistic about what's coming up?
Well, right now, again, because of the origin of the COVID-19, it seems that many very large companies wants to again leave China or have new options on top of China. So basically, right now, what's robust for us is obviously our unique proposal in Vietnam. So yes, this is still a very, very good option, and yes, the business is growing quite rapidly and fast. I mean, in Vietnam more so than in China right now, even though China is still the major supplier of frames in the world. What we see out there is maybe some other opportunities coming in a cheaper area than Asia, because even Vietnam right now is not cheap anymore compared to other parts of the world. I mean, like Eastern Europe, for instance, or Africa, for instance. What we also see, but not on on such a large scale that we operate, is probably more of a regionalization of the manufacturing, meaning smaller operation, more niche products, getting closer to the end consumer in order to cut some of the margins, and therefore make these more expensive product to start with still affordable to the consumer. So that's what we see as well, small operations, smaller designers who are basically doing stuff in the US, in Europe, in many different countries in Europe. That's what we see as well. It is more niche, of course. We are more talking about fashion here than commodity or technology for the big guys. But this is definitely something that we see growing.
You know, we lost Vision Expo, lost MIDO. Next opportunity, I'm not addressing the Korean show. For us, the Vision Expo West show, scheduled for September. Patti, how important will that event be, provided that it can happen, which right now is on schedule?
I think that it's going to be important for a lot of companies just to get back out there and, you know, bring some faith back to all of us. For Barton Perreira, hopefully most of our customers will have seen and bought the collection by then. And so for us, I'm not sure how important it will be to be at the show, but I think for our industry, it's important.
Giulia, can you address the same?
I agree with Patti. I mean, we need that. We need that positive sign. We need to see that we're going back to the way, you know, we know normality used to be. So that definitely will help a lot of companies in this industry. For our particular business models, it's not as important to be showing our collections so often, because our model is based on fewer models and then you actually create them in your store. So truth is that I'm not really scared about not being able to show the new models that we're presenting now at Vision Expo, because again, like our idea is mostly like we provide you the base models, but then you create them. So that's why I'm not very afraid of what's going to happen in the next few months. Even if we don't meet in person for another couple of months, it won't impact us as much as other companies.
And Marc, how does the face-to-face impact you today? And what do you anticipate the importance of all gathering in September in Las Vegas?
Well, what we've tried to do, and you were very often in copy of those, we try to keep in touch with our partners and with our customers to try to communicate a lot throughout the whole situation very early on, to explain what was going on, to keep in touch, keep in contact, and build the relationship more so than really showing product and trying to sell stuff. Because it was, I mean, the time was not to sell. The time was really to manage the emergency. Yes, indeed. I mean, again, since it's getting difficult to meet with people. And again, this is another factor that makes this crisis self-fulfilling, basically. And that's a problem at one point for the economy, for us to work and to not only to socialize, but to really finalize some deals. It's important that we meet. How will it happen? Will it happen? I don't know. I mean, would it be too early in the USA to have some to have people coming in Las Vegas to the next Vision Expo? I hope not. I hope people will come, but that we'll see. We shall see the decision of the Vision Council on that. I mean, Silmo is still discussing right now. It's not a given at all that Silmo will happen at all right now. So and it's supposed to be a few days or a week or two after Vision Expo. How about Hong Kong? For us, the Hong Kong show is critical. I mean, this is for me the biggest gathering of the industry with all the very big professionals meeting the very big China factories. So for us, at least, that's very important. I mean, being an Asian manufacturer, obviously. But yes, it's important to meet. It's very important. I agree completely with Giulia here. I mean, we have to not only to socialize, we have to come out of this stronger and to be to start again to meet face to face, if possible, without mask.
So let's say you can't. Then what? What happens?
Well,
you can't.
We are already working a lot. I mean, we're still working. You know, we didn't close anything at all. So we have been working all the way through this entire crisis, right? And not only on the factory side, but also on the design side, on the sales side. We are on a daily basis in contact with our customers, with our partners, and we are working on their developments in many cases. So of course, many of the shipments are postponed, but developments, hopefully, are still working. I mean, just to again, de-risk China for, as far as we are concerned, to go into Vietnam, or to prepare some of the collection as well. So it's possible to make product development without face-to-face interaction. It's not easy, it's not as convenient as before, but it's possible. And yes, we have Zoom, we have sampling, we sample a lot. It's going everywhere. And it's crazy. We have more and more requests from our design team to basically work on briefs, work on different different things. So it's just very intense, actually, very intense. Not as effective as it used to be. Again, a face-to-face is much more. It's quicker to get the response. But we're still working. It's just a matter of working more, harder, and be there. And at one point, and care for the people as well. Not just connect to them just to sell, but connect just to know if there is something we can do to help.
And as Frank DePaulo has points out here, I think the reps are more important now than ever. People want to meet privately, talking about trunk shows and different tactics that can be used today that can take the place of some of that group gathering. So Terrence, I think I have taken this up to the time. You tell me.
Well done, Mike. Mike, I got a private message for the session. Someone said, Mike is a great storyteller and he has a gift of painting the picture of the industry. So I think that speaks volumes for what you did today, what the three panelists did. It's so nice to have them on different sides of the industry and bring us up to date on how that picture looks. So Giulia, thank you so much. Patti, thank you. Marc, really appreciate you volunteering your time and being here. It was amazing. It was amazing. So for those of you who is our first time joining us, the Eye to Eye series consists of 2 sessions per week. The first session is Coffee Talk every Wednesday at 12:15. We deal with really immediate industry needs. The second session is Happy Hour, Friday at 4:15 p.m. And we always deal with a number of very fun topics that are appeal to the creative. And this Friday, we have a very special topic we're going to discover. I'm going to unmute my big brother, Gary Black. Gary, are you there?
I am. Thanks, Terrence. Thanks for having me. Miss you, Patti. You too, Terrence.
Awesome. So Gary's actually going to be taking part in a series called The Next Generation of Retailers Speed Dating. Gary is going to be meeting with 4 to 5 industry new retailers or potential retailers. And they're all going to glean and take advantage of the mind of Gary Black. So Gary, let's know a little bit about
pressure.
For those of us who don't know you, Gary, let's know a little bit about who you are.
Yeah, sure. You know, I started selling glasses 23 years ago when I was a teenager. 13 years ago, I started Black Optical. You know, we've experienced it all. You know, we've had some great success. We've learned from a lot of mistakes. But, you know, we keep getting better. Every mistake, we keep getting a little bit better. Even through COVID, I feel like our team just keeps getting a little bit better. But thankfully, we have great, you know, partners like Barton Perreira that, you know, we support each other. And I think that is really what it's all about. You know, they lift us up. We hopefully get to lift them up. And then we all succeed, you know, through that.
Amazing. So yes, everybody, tune in this Friday, 4:15 p.m., The Next Generation of Retail Speed Dating with Gary Black. He will be here with all of his hair. along with them. Hopefully. So until then, we're going to be signing off here. Thank you all for participating and coming. Before you go, there's going to be a poll. There's a survey that helps us with different content and feedback. Please fill out that poll. But we thank you all for being here. Thank you so much from Nova Scotia. Thank you so much from Switzerland. Thank you from Barbados. Thank you, New Jersey, Philadelphia. Dr. Henry, again, you're here every week. We appreciate it. Perry Brill, Dr. Brill, thank you so much. Really appreciate you being here. The crew at Thema, Barton Perreira, Gary, thanks for being here. Dr. Ossip, thanks for being here. Nico, if I didn't name you, I don't love you. It's just there's 178 of you on. So this is us right now signing off. Thank you again for attending Coffee Talk. And our panelists, we really appreciate it. So take care, guys. Enjoy your week.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That was great. That was really well done. So, Patty, I was going to wear a hat, but I can't put the hat over my...
Oh, yeah. You need to get little buds.
You know what it is? My ear canal is so tiny, the buds keep on falling out. So
You're
Gary
a little petite thing.
I know. Can you believe it? As big as his head is, these ear canals are tiny.
Oh, yeah. Or maybe get one of those ones that comes around this way. The low.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
You know, you guys did excellent. Julia, well done.
Thank you, Terrence, for this opportunity. It was great, honestly. I hope that the results was what you expected.
It was beyond what I expected. Both of you and Mark.
And you know, Patti, it's a pleasure to connect with you because, of course, I've been knowing you by name for years, but it's a pleasure to connect in person.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I actually made a little note that I want to get in touch with you aside from this and have a conversation because I'm really excited to learn more about what you're doing.
That would be a pleasure. Sure.
And you're so impressive. I mean, on screen and I'm sure off screen as well. So I'm really excited to learn about your business.
Thank you. No, I'm definitely, we'll connect.
I'll share your contact information.
Thank you.
You guys can go ahead and contact each other directly. And Patty, if you go to Miami to visit the factory, you have to invite me.
Yeah, definitely. I'm coming. I'm telling you, I'm so looking forward to travel. I miss it so much. And I'm coming. Get ready, Florida.
You know what I missed the most about traveling?
What?
Turn down service. It's nothing like, not making your bed and then someone making it for you and leaving water and chocolate when you get home.
Right? Yeah. That's good. Yeah, room service is fun. Although I'm really looking forward to just being out, and going to restaurants and,
I had to bring my sister to Brooklyn yesterday for a doctor's appointment, and it wasn't far from Atelier Mira, where Rama and Asia's store. So I walked by there, and Asia was in, and we had a social distancing visit, and we were so happy to just, number one, to be outside and to see someone other than your family.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Very well done. Very well. No, that was fun.
Sorry, I actually have to go right now.
Okay, yep.
Thank you again for this opportunity, and you guys, we stay in touch, okay?
All right, sounds good, guys.
Bye.
Appreciate it. Bye, Julia. All right, Patty. Nabil, do you need